Hey there, this is Christopher John of Swamp Castle, and I'm here to give you an update on the property. It's been a few years since that last update that got posted, but I think it'll be up for a good one here. So, as the story goes, when we bought this place, it's a 5.5 acre home in a suburb of Detroit, way out, exurbs, really, and it was sort of sold as this really cool house on this park-like property, but and I wish I had video of when we started, because what you see before you, which is a nice sort of cleared out hardwood forest, wasn't like that. It was completely choked with buckthorn and Asian bittersweet vines and all sorts of very invasive plants, and a lot of just kind of crappy trees. A lot of people call them trash trees. But so 3 solid years of just taking little nibbles at it once we got the pond situated and we just cleared it out, and I still got a little touch up to do here and there. It's my neighbor's house over there, and the neighbor, that's the front of the property. So I just kept going at it. I would mow with the mower, and I started doing that, and to kind of cut up the Asian bittersweet. But then I found you really got to pull that stuff out, and it sucks. It is an arduous and difficult job. But this is the corner here before the wetland, and it sort of meets up with my neighbor's property, and you can see how much that sucks. So he's gonna do it the easy way. Anyway, I just kind of went at this by hand. Cut down all the trees and pulled the stumps, or cut them off at ground level and then kind of buried them. And there was a lot of trees around the pond. We cut down a lot of trees around the pond because the pond was really choked as well. There's a pile of wood that has not been dealt with yet. You see, here's a big pile of wood chips, and that came from, well, we had a lot of trees and just rented a chipper and fed the trees into the chipper. The whole tree. Didn't even take the branches off, just kind of lifted it up there. We're talking like 10-inch trees, and I could just get that up there. So now this is kind of looking into the wetlands. Incidentally, there was a lot of trash on the property. If it could have been dumped, it was dumped, and that may have happened before the previous owners came out here, but the previous owners dumped a lot of trash on this property. Tires, drums, buckets, shingles, every bit of metal you can imagine is laying around out here. So we cleaned out all this. This is just choked full of just crap. Buckthorns. Buckthorns love that kind of soil, I think. There's a lot of them in the swamp. So we've got a patch of Phragmites here, invasive Phragmites. It's a reed. It's like 15 feet tall. My nephew has been helping me eradicate them with the right kind of herbicide. And we go in there in August, and late August, early September, and he climbs in there and sprays all that. He's used to doing that. He had a job at the parks, state DNR and all that. And then in the wintertime, I try to come out here and mechanically remove it. Someday I'm just gonna call the fire brigade, and they'll come out and do a controlled burn out here. get rid of all that biomass. Oh, sticking in the swamp. So this was just choked solid with vines, and some of the vines are coming back, and I need to address that. But this was choked solid, and a lot of crappy trees, and like this is a buckthorn right here, and I need to get to that. I haven't gotten to him yet. This is like little bites, little by little. There's a creek back here. It's an unnatural creek that somebody dug around 100 years ago, connecting a couple of lakes, small lakes, nothing you could take a boat into. As you can see, I got a lot of dead buckthorn. I sprayed all this buckthorn that was growing back here, and I've got 5 more years of doing that, mechanical removal and spraying, because it drops seeds apparently that can last quite a bit in the soil. So at some point, previous owners tried to put a crossing in here, and I don't think they ever finished it, something tells me. So we got some rotted out posts stuck in there. But this is just a beautiful piece of land. Lots of wildlife come through here. And I'm doing what I can to keep it nice. The pond was a disaster. Oh yes, I see that. I've got some dead trees. They'll be dealt with, some poplars. And but I gotta wait for the pond to freeze over to cut those down, because it's the only place I can fall them. So once the pond is sufficiently frozen, then I'll cut these trees down before I can get to them. The pond was just an absolute mess, choked solid with duckweed and algae and nastiness. And it's not, I'm not gonna swim in there. It's full of snapping turtles. There's some big ones in there. They come around. I think I got one on video. I threw some fish in there, and the snapping turtles ate the fish, so there's that. But we put the aerators in and the fountain, and I give it a lot of bacteria. In fact, I just fed it bacteria today. Help break down the biomass. Yes, I live near an airport. I've spent a little time cleaning this out back behind the pole barn. I got some poles here that I'm going to have a look at and use in a lean-to. Trusty little lawnmower trailer there has served me well, though I hate its guts beyond all measure, because it will suddenly let go. You'll have a load in it. It's got a crappy latch mechanism. You hear that, Cub Cadet? Crappy latch mechanism. And it'll let go on you if you're not paying attention, and boom, your load's down, and then you gotta redo it all. And it's a good reason to get rid of that and get something real. But it came with the lawnmower, and I didn't know any better. So you can see my other neighbor's pole barn. We're getting to the other side of the property. A significant portion of the property is on the wetlands and in the swamp. That's okay. That's fine by me. It's less that I have to worry about. We have a horse buried on our property. And here he is. Mr. Higgins. 1959 to 1992. Previous owners did have a horse and a barn, and they kept the horse, and I think he was a pet horse. They may have ridden him. There were kind of trails through the swamp and around the property, I hear. But like I said, this was all choked out. It was just solid, sweet, bittersweet, Asian bittersweet. Now I'm trying to get this mayapple to kind of fill in. So I will come around and I'll do actually some weeding on kind of a macro scale. Get out the stuff I don't like and let the stuff I like the mayapple, thrive. Anyway, this is kind of another end of the property. And I kind of want to come in here and clean out some of these vines. We'll see. I kind of am okay with it. Way off in the distance is a park. And people could climb through the wetland here from that park and come through the property. And, well, this makes it a little more difficult, so probably leave it. But anyway, oh, here's something fun. Just kind of a broad view here. Here's something fun. Let's see if you can see it. Can you see it? Yes, I'm using a cell phone for this, so forgive me. I don't have money for crazy camera equipment. Did you see it yet? Oh my gosh, it's a tire. What's that tire doing there? Well, this is kind of a thing I'm just going to leave. There was at one time a truck parked here, a junk truck. I think it was the previous owners. And this here, silver maple. That's a pretty big silver maple. He's a good 12 inches, 13 inches in diameter around the base at least, maybe even 15. But yeah, can you see that? There's the hypoid of the rear axle. This truck was sitting here when we looked at the property, and we said, hey, are they going to clean up the property and get rid of some of this junk? And apparently they had a scrapper out, and he cut that off in the frame as best he could and all the suspension, but there was no getting that rear axle out of that tree. The tree grew right over top of it. That rear axle is there forever. Oop, just ran into a tree. Shh, don't tell anybody. Yep, that rear axle is there forever. So that's the update. That's where we're at in 2021 and tail end of June. And hope you enjoyed this little video. There'll be more here and there, but I don't think I'm going to make this some crazy channel. But I hope somebody remembers that I said that in case it does become some crazy channel. Alright, later.